if you are building something new, what to not do. What are some of the characteristics of these traps? What are we steering clear of? What's the toxicity that gobbles us up?
This is such a critical question because, like organizations are, I'm going to use kind of the economist term, they're path dependent. Their early history matters. The actions of their founders matter a great deal. Drew Houston, who's an MIT alum, I work at MIT, came to campus a few years ago, and I got to interview him on stage. Obviously, this overflow room of prospective entrepreneurs. So I said to him, great, you've got a room of wannabe entrepreneurs out there, give them some advice. And I was expecting him to talk about how to build a viral product, which Dropbox had done unbelievably well, or how to deal with venture capitalists or a board or something like that. And his answer was completely different. He said, when I was starting Dropbox, I booked time with a lot of the geeks that I respected the most, primarily in the Valley. And I just went around and had coffee with them. And he said, they all told me the same thing. He said, they all told me to start working on the culture very early and never, ever let go of that. Never lose sight of that as you're scaling up the company. So I think your question is exactly right. Even for younger or smaller organizations, there's a set of things that are, I think, are critical to do right from the jump so that you start on a good trajectory as opposed to a bad trajectory. Let me give you a couple of them. One of them is to realize that you are an incredibly good evaluator of ideas, as long as they're not your own ideas. This is it's deeply weird, but once I think you look at it the right way, it starts to make a ton of sense. I think maybe the single most common human cognitive bias and the easiest cognitive bias to elicit is overconfidence. We human beings are chronically overconfident. I tell a story in the book about how Danny Kahneman, who's the first non-economist to win the Nobel Prize in economics, for studying our cognitive biases, fell into the deep trap of overconfidence when he was trying to write a book. Chase, I have to confess, I fell into the trap of overconfidence when I was writing The Geek Way. I got my submission date for the manuscript wrong. I was overconfident in it. We human beings are chronically overconfident for reasons that I hope we get to talk about. But there's a very clear implication from that, which is your brain is amazing and it generates all kinds of ideas for you, and that's great. Don't believe them. Your brain's job is not to be a rational seeker of the truth or present reality to you. Your brain, a big part of your brain's job is to whisper in your own ear how awesome you are so that you can then be overconfident to the world. Overconfidence is really valuable, or appearing confident is very valuable. So there's a very clear implication from that. You are overconfident. I think training yourself not to be overconfident is extraordinarily difficult. Kahneman couldn't do it. I certainly can't do it. I think it's like training yourself not to like calorie-rich foods. It's just really hard. But there's an alternative. There's an alternative that works like crazy, which is submit your ideas to the group, to group level scrutiny. Get feedback. The research on this is actually crazy. We are really good, bizarrely good at evaluating the ideas of others. We're actually pretty rational at it. We're really kind of a great evaluator of others' ideas, even though we're terrible at ours. And what I think has happened is that evolution has said we human beings, we're an inherently groupy species. We have to live in groups. We can't survive on our own. Great. So evolution did this very clever trick where it outsourced evaluating ideas up to the group level and left coming up with ideas down at the individual level. As long as you get that division of labor right, your chances go way up. So great, have all the ideas you want, but don't stop there. Let your peers, let your colleagues, let other people bang on them, and don't take it personally. Be open to the idea that you're wrong. In addition to being overconfident, we human beings are also naturally defensive. We don't want to admit defeat. That's a really bad strategy in a lot of ways. We naturally want the status quo to persist. And the group level evaluation of ideas, and that's just another way of saying science. Science is, yes, it's about evidence gathering. More fundamentally, science is about subjecting your ideas to group level scrutiny and all of the pain and kind of unpleasant feelings that come along with that. So one thing that everybody should keep in mind, whether you're a solopreneur or just starting out or you've got a small team, man, that team is where the ideas should get stress tested. It's not your individual brilliance that's going to do that for you.